Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez, joined once again by Glenn Beck, Stu Burgier, and special guest Josh Hammer from the Daily Wire. Thanks for being here. I know you are a world traveler. Always gone, so we're happy that you could fit it in your schedule.
Really smart. I can't wait to hear your take on the news today.
Yeah. All right, Glenn, what's your top story?
Well, it was all day because of just a knee-jerk reaction, what's going on with calling the president a racist. And I'm personally connected to that. But I'm going to actually pass that one to Stu because I think there's a story that has not been told at all and is absolutely game-changing for all mankind. Everything that I have said was coming, starting with Stu in like 1995. I said this, and he was like, "You're crazy." And I'm like, "No, it's not me. Look, it's here." It was announced this week, and this announcement changes Homo sapiens. It changes the course of the world.
Wow. All right. So, Stu, your top story is that the president is racist?
Yeah, well, I specialize in knee-jerk reactions, so I'll go with that one.
Okay. All right, Josh.
Yeah, let's talk about the border, the sovereignty crisis. Big issue. People aren't talking about it as much anymore as they should be. There's one particular story out of New Mexico not getting a lot of attention that we'll drill down and talk about.
All right, a lot to get into. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Relief Factor. So Stu and I really appreciate Relief Factor because it makes Glenn tolerable.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah, don't oversell it. Mildly tolerable.
Okay, tolerable.
Tolerable in the pain sort of way.
Yes, it's not magic.
Yeah.
Right?
So Relief Factor has helped me a great deal. I was in crippling pain, and quite honestly, about 2 years ago, I said to my wife right around Christmas time, I don't think I can do it anymore. I don't know how I'm going to live the rest of my life like this because I can't do it anymore. She started in on me. Advertising on the radio show. Why did you do it? And so I finally gave in, quite honestly, not thinking that it would work, just to get her to pipe down, please. And I took it, and it worked. And the deal is they ask you to take it 3 times a day for 3 weeks. If it doesn't work, stop taking it. 70% of the people who do take it, it does work for. I saw an immediate decrease in my pain, and it is gone for me. And tell me before Relief Factor, did I have pain-free days?
No.
Never.
No.
Never. Hasn't gotten rid of all of my pain every day, but most days are pain-free for me. It's Relief Factor. Please, just try it.
You can go to relieffactor.com, get that 3-week quick start pack for $20. All right, Glenn. You said, love it. Top story, changing live on television.
Right, yeah.
No idea what you're talking about. Go.
Okay. So Elon Musk came out, and I was attracted to this story for a couple of reasons. I'm very much into AI and transhumanism, and I warn that this is coming and have been for a while. And we have
T and LGBT.
Yes, and we really have to seriously have a talk about this. I don't know, yesterday. And also my daughter has cerebral palsy, and she has been going through testings to get these neurotransmitters, if you will. They're like, I don't know, they're like little bars, very small, but they're little bars that they put into your head, and it senses what's going on and creates a wave to stop from having seizures, so she could be seizure-free. So I get up this morning, and a friend of mine who is a total geek said, it's here. Did you see what Elon said? Elon Musk just introduced Neuralink. Now, I don't know where this guy gets his time. It's like, he's building cars and spaceships, and he's going to moon, and it's like, on a Saturday afternoon, I did this Neuralink thing. What this is, and he's being very cagey about this. He says this is to help people walk and help people get past Alzheimer's and dementia and everything else. It's a Neuralink that is now 10,000 times more powerful than what they would say they were going to put into my daughter's head. Okay, 10,000 times more powerful. First phase goes into humans in 1 year from now. The machine that does it, it's almost like a big robotic sewing machine. The sensors or the transmitters are the size of a human hair. and they have to be put in exactly, because if you screw it up, you could have a bleed in the brain. It has to go through it has to be placed exactly right, okay? So a machine does it, but the machine will have you in and out with new neurotransmitters within an hour.
Wow.
It's like LASIK. Now here's what it does. The first phase is just for Parkinson's, epilepsy, things like that. 10,000 times better than what we have. The next phase, what he's doing is it has a recorder as part of it. So it can record your memories. When you think of something, all those transmitters fire, and it will record and then store it itself. So when you're searching for something and you have Alzheimer's and you can't remember, it pushes that memory out.
I think there was a Black Mirror episode about that.
Okay.
How did it turn out well?
No.
It usually does.
No.
Okay, so now so it can help you with that. The third phase, which is no farther than 10 years away, he says, the third phase is an actual uplink. So you will be online all the time. So everything you're thinking, you won't have to think, oh, let me search for and use your thumbs. You think what is, and it's there. Okay? It pushes it into your brain. You are constantly linked online. Think of that. Now, the other thing is, it also, if you say, I need to speak French, I'm going to France and I need to speak French, it will upload your ability to speak another language.
And let them upload English.
Yeah, right. This is game changing for the human race. Now, here's what he said that most people they'd hear about the first part and think that's great, and the rest of it's science fiction, and they won't even hear why he's doing it. He's doing it to help people walk and to help people remember and things like that. That's fine. But what he actually said, sandwiched in there, is AI is coming, and a benevolent AI is probably not going to happen. And one of his big things is to stop AI, or to find a way to have a benevolent AI. We're not headed that way. Okay, nobody is going, they just want AI. Only DARPA is looking for a benevolent AI. So what he's doing is he's saying, if we can interface with it, this is his schedule. Remember, AI, ASI, or AGI is supposed to happen around 2028. Mm-hmm. He needs this to be in our heads before, because he said the only way you'll understand our AI and the only way we'll be able to work with it is if we can connect. Otherwise, we won't see any of these situations coming our way. It will be too far ahead of us too fast. So we have to upgrade. Now, let me just give you one quick scenario. And you have to think about this. This is real. This is not something that's science fiction. Think of this. Right now, we're being depersoned because our ability to speak on platforms is going away. Imagine having a Neuralink and someone in charge of that Neuralink, and you're thinking thoughts that the state, the corporations, or whoever don't like. You can play ball with the greatest minds all around, because everybody will be one of the greatest minds, because we'll be a hive. You'll be able to do that. But if somebody finds you not worthy, you're a monkey. You're back to the Homo sapien. And you won't understand the conversations. You will not be able to keep up. That's where we're headed.
Stu, do you care to weigh in on this terrifying scenario?
You got to tell me what episode of Black Mirror that is, because that sounds awesome. It's amazing. I think, look, Glenn is paid very handsomely to think that far in the future for these sort of scenarios, and you've been doing that for a long time. There of course are great parts of this as well. Great parts. Yeah, mm-hmm. What kind of strikes me as you talk about that is, we are in a time in which half the country says that there shouldn't be any billionaires. That shouldn't be allowed. right? Here's a guy, like, I don't agree with everything that Elon Musk does by any means, but like, he's living the life of a billionaire how I'd like to live a life of a billionaire.
He's
like,
Tony Stark.
Yeah,
he's a real life Tony Stark.
He kind of is. And like, you know, the fact that capitalism built him, and now he as a billionaire is building things that could help lots and lots of people. Now, of course, could also turn dark, as you point out, but I think there's going to be lots and lots of benefits of it as well.
Yeah, he's saying this is in his opinion, this is the way to prevent it from going to extinction.
Yeah, he's trying. I mean, and you know, this could solve, I mean, you know, I've had relatives die of Parkinson's, right? Like pretty recently, and it's like really difficult.
My daughter could speak again. I mean, she could speak and understand language where she has a hard time communicating with people, and she just, and it's because all of those pathways are broken. In this, he actually said, anyone who had strokes or anything like that, it will repair all those pathways. It will just double for those pathways. So full restoration of strokes. That's incredible, just that.
They have a thing that they've put out on the market. You can buy it now. It's like under $200. That helps you because I guess as you're young and you start doing physical activities, you're playing tennis, right? Like as you are playing something and as you get better at it, you notice the improvements because your those pathways are firing and you're constantly improving as you're growing up and you're turning into a teenager and you're getting to your 20s. And of course, as you get to our age, all of a sudden you can't play tennis very well anymore and it doesn't feel as good. They have these devices that we wear them. They're not nearly as advanced, obviously, at the very beginning of this technology, but like they actually help open up those pathways again and supposedly help you learn like a new sport or a new activity when you're older. And like that stuff's like, consumer level stuff now. I mean, can you imagine what it's going to be in not that long of a time?
Here's the last thing on this. That's what this will be if we are a free market. That's what this will be if we are free. If we are not, this stuff is in development and will happen. And if we have national, global health care or whatever, it will not. It will be for the uber rich. And it's totally cows and ranchers then.
Yeah. Josh, are you concerned with unintended consequences of this?
Just a little bit, yeah. I feel like lawyers are paid to worry about unintended consequences. So as a habit of my vocation, I'm necessarily worried about it. No, I mean, on the one hand, I'm mesmerized. On the other hand, I obviously am terrified. But I kind of just love in general these quirky titans of Silicon Valley. I flew back last night from D.C. I was there in part for... Oh yeah, well, it's very swampy. It's swampy all year actually, especially this time of the year. But I was in town for my friend Yoram Hazony's National Conservatism Conference. I was getting a lot of play on Twitter, and I was actually in the room when Peter Thiel on Sunday night gave this speech that has made headlines, where he was talking about how Google is treasonous was the word that Peter Thiel used. He was calling for that's high octane stuff. Yeah, it is. That is high energy content. Yeah. So I kind of just love these quirky Silicon Valley guys in general. Elon Musk, I would pay good money to meet Elon Musk. Just have a beer with Elon Musk.
I'd pay money. He didn't even have to recognize me. I'd pay good money just to sit in the room and listen to him for a while.
Yeah. The language thing to me is like personally what I would be most interested in. I'm not great with languages. I took Spanish for 4 years in high school. I've traveled to numerous Spanish language countries. It does not help.
No,
at all.
The same thing with French this last year. I took 5 years of French and went to France for a week and literally could remember how to ask to go to the bathroom.
I've taken 54 years of English. I can barely speak English.
No, but like I took a semester. 3 semesters of Mandarin Chinese in college. I can literally say like 3 words. But like my big project for years now has been trying to learn Hebrew because I really want to be able to read both scripture and rabbinical texts in the original Hebrew without the English translation. I've been daunted to embark on that task because I'm so language challenged. So personally, this is like that's the very first thing I thought of.
Oh, it'll be amazing technology if we're free.
Yeah. All right. Stu's knee-jerk reaction when we come back.
Any of the great hot takes you could develop with this technology? Like they could be the hottest takes of all hot takes. Imagine.
But if you're not, if you think of it. Phone.
Before we get back into the conversation, want to thank our sponsor, Cruise Through History. Glenn, you guys are going on an amazing cruise, and I was not invited.
We are on a. Everyone is invited.
Yeah, I mean, Josh was talking about like learning and like going back into Hebrew. I mean, we're going to Israel.
Yeah,
I mean, this is.
So we're going to Israel. We're going to the Mediterranean. We'll stop at Venice, at Athens, Dubrovnik. And then we go to Israel, and we found out that the guy who played Jesus in Passion of the Christ is coming with us, and it's kind of sucks because he won't play any jokes with us. I really want to dress him as Jesus and just go up on the Temple Mountain like, "Hey, everybody!" But I don't think he'd do that.
No,
could cause a. So anyway, we have him coming with us. Tim Ballard, Bill O'Reilly is going to be there. We're going to be doing shows and teaching history. David Barton. We're bringing a lot of our history museum on board the ship. It's just going to be great. It's going to be great. So go to comesailaway.com, and join us next spring.
All right, Stu, tell us about your knee-jerk reaction here.
Let's start with MSNBC's historian. This is a Pulitzer Prize historian explaining to us the history of the United States in a way I had never learned it.
Warning, it might make your head explode.
Yes, I agreed.
What the president's done here is yet again, because I think he did it after Charlottesville, and I think he did it, frankly, when he was pushing the birther lie about President Obama, is he has joined Andrew Johnson as the most racist president in American history. Johnson, in a state message, said that African Americans were incapable of self-government and relapsed into barbarism if they weren't closely supervised. Eric Foner, the great historian of Reconstruction, says that was the single most racist statement by a president in a public paper.
That is such bullcrap all the way around. I mean, Woodrow Wilson, literally, when he resegregated, there was one guy who had to have his job amongst all the white people. There was no way, Mr. President, we can't segregate. He has to be there. Okay, they put him in a cage, in a cage.
Oh, kind of like Trump is doing down on the border with all of those immigrants.
I don't know, the guy with the Trail of Tears that just wiped out Indians, and lied and broke all the treaties. I don't know. I think he might have been a little bit more than Johnson and definitely Donald Trump.
I mean, look, Donald Trump has said some things that have been questionable. We've discussed many of them. I don't think any of them equivalent. He didn't put anybody in internment camps.
Right.
He didn't bring back the KKK. He didn't write a book in which Birth of a Nation was based on.
Okay, that's Woodrow Wilson and FDR. I'm seeing a pattern here.
Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson. Oh, and they're weird. They're all Democrats.
Weird.
Go back and listen to the words of LBJ.
I was just going to say that.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, LBJ. I mean, certainly Nixon said a lot of things too. I mean, like Donald Trump doesn't compare to any of these people. It's completely ridiculous.
I can't believe I live in a country that is still taking Donald Trump's tweets seriously.
Oh, God, thank you.
They're not serious. They said he's just trying to make sure that AOC is the face of the party, and he's just trying to whip everybody up. Well, it's going to work against him because they're all going to Nancy Pelosi. No, they're not. Because there's a lot of people that look at that group of women and go, you know what? They might have been born here, but they don't sound like they're Americans at all. If anything, they sound like they hate America. And his first response, I thought, was much better than the second one, which was leave. If it's that horrible and oppressive, leave. Yeah. There's lots of countries you could go to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I thought this sentiment that I think Trump somewhere in his brain was going for with those tweets, which is that if you're voluntarily coming here, you should probably be grateful for this country gives you. That is obviously a correct sentiment. Yes. He did not transmit the message in particularly eloquent fashion, to put it mildly.
And that's so unusual for him.
So unusual. But to your broader point, Glenn, I remember thinking after Trump was elected and on November 8th, 2016, I remember thinking, oh my God, this guy is going to be our president. Is he actually going to just stop tweeting? And then he didn't. And my next thought was, okay, so this is like the new normal and people will stop eventually caring. Here we are, 2.5 weeks later.
No, but 2.5 years. But they have. The average person, I think, has stopped caring. It's like
the media is
the media is just
story.
going crazy.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of like what I wanted to focus on a little bit here is that like there's the way that these things have been treated, and I very much go by the idea that anything that Trump tweets or says has no value to me because who knows if he's negotiating or he's got something else. Who knows with him? There's no point to get fired up about it. I am interested in the way the media has handled this though, in that here's a little montage of the wording they're using to describe these tweets. Watch.
Today, President Trump is not backing away from his stunningly racist attack on a group of minority members of Congress.
Donald Trump is and always has been a racist.
But not since Woodrow Wilson showed Birth of a Nation in the White House has an American president been so flagrant in his racial messaging as this one.
Straight up racist.
The president is a racist, and he is a demagogue. That is just a fact.
Chris Matthews was actually there for the Woodrow Wilson thing, so you give him some credit on that one. There's a tough guy element of journalists right now. Instead of saying racially tinged or potentially racist, they're just straight out accusing him of racism. And the comment of it in and of itself of taking someone and saying, "Hey, go back to your own country if you don't like it." Can theoretically be racist, right? It's certainly possible. White nationalists do use that type of language. We also used it against Piers Morgan constantly because he was really annoying. He was complaining about our Second Amendment. Well, if you don't like our Constitution so much, maybe you'll find a great home in the UK. He's a white dude, as far as I know. It's not exclusively racist. So you are, as a journalist now, not a commentator. Rachel Maddow wants to come out here and call him racist. That's totally fine. It's her analysis. You saw a bunch of journalists there, though, saying, you know what, this is racist. You are reading this guy's mind and assigning his motivation on these people because you're seeing four people who have different looks to them. When we all know that every time Donald Trump disagrees with anyone, he calls them terrible names and thinks of the worst insult he can do. He's done it to you, and you're white, right? Yeah. And it's funny because
oh my gosh, I am.
You are.
Holy cow! I didn't know that. That came as a real shock.
You're worse than you thought. But it's he disagrees with you and he calls you a name, and no one says it's racist because you're white. But if another person who happens to be black, Maxine Waters, he insulted Maxine Waters, and it was immediately.
That's all, folks.
Thank you. A racist attack, and it's well, that's not him. Right. That's you. You are inserting your belief of what his motivation is, and then treating it as news, not as speculation, and that is not a healthy practice in journalism, right? I mean, that's not journalism.
I said I think the president is racist with Barack Obama, but I immediately corrected. Said no, that's not quite right. But I was a commentator, and I was trying to figure out what's motivating this guy. How can you say the police acted stupidly when you didn't know anything about it, and you just went to race? And he had played so many things that just made it seem, and his grandmother, of course, was bred, like most white people, to hate or be suspicious of black people. Right. I mean, that's pretty darn racist. And so I was trying to figure that out. And I was a racist because I said he was a racist. And I didn't actually say it. I immediately corrected and said, that's not quite right. But he has a problem with the culture.
Right.
And as a commentator, that's what I should do.
Right.
As a journalist, that's not your responsibility. As a historian, they are making this for the history books clear. He will never not be known as a racist now because all of the journalists and all of the progressive historians all agree right now.
We literally had two generations of slave-holding presidents. Have we just forgotten about that?
Apparently. Even with Google. Oh, no. All right, back in a minute. Very easily accessible.
Did CNN have Richard Spencer on last night?
Yes.
Well, it's like
Josh, you were talking to us about a piece that you just did a couple days ago.
Yeah, so I wrote a piece 2 days ago. There was this Axios poll over the weekend. Mike Allen was tweeting out. They polled non-college educated white voters in some swing states. The sample size was a little over 1,000, so a pretty rigorous poll. AOC was 50 points underwater among that group. Ilhan Omar had a 9% approval rating. So I think that the squad, as we're calling them, is literally going to cause the Democratic Party to have an electoral bloodbath in 2020. I'm calling it a bloodbath.
I love it. And they can find it. We'll tweet it out, but they can find it on your Twitter as well, I assume.
My Twitter, the Daily Wire.
DailyWire.com. All right, more to come in overtime. We'll see you there.